Hello and welcome to Shoot the Hostage with me, Sarah, and my partner Dan. We're a movie podcast and we cover 8 films per season on a specific theme. Now, we swear, we chat major spoilers, and we occasionally cover triggering topics, so please do use listener discretion. If you like what we do and want to support us, consider hitting 5 stars on Spotify, or maybe subscribing or even reviewing on your platform of choice. We also have a Patreon with a free tier for lineups and updates, and 2 paid tiers with extra content and early ad-free uploads. Right, on with the show.
We're here to talk about Monster, Sarah. Your season, we're still in your season of true crime movies, well and truly. I haven't seen this for ages, this film. Was it Gareth Edwards' first movie?
Oh, here we go. I thought you were going to say that you watched the 2023 version.
There was a remake?
There's a Korean, I think it's Korean film called Monster. Very good movie,
okay.
But not that one, no. We're here to talk about the 2003 Patty Jenkins Monster.
I might have watched the wrong film.
No, you didn't.
I'm going to talk about the Gareth Edwards 2010 movie Monsters, which is a sequel to that Patty Jenkins one. So maybe we'll do half where you talk about the Patty Jenkins one and I'll do the other half where I talk about the Gareth Edwards one.
It would make more sense if you talked about the first Gareth Edwards movie, because I know how much you enjoy saying Scoot McNairy.
Well, and Scoot McNairy is in that?
Yeah.
Oh, I did. Do you know what? When I watched it, I didn't know who the fuck Scoot McNairy was.
Well, now you do.
And now I do, because I saw that show about computers that you made me watch.
No, you watched a bit of that show about computers that I made you watch, and then you bailed because you were like, that's all right. Which is what you always do.
I didn't bail. You bailed because I wasn't. I was like, you loved the show, and that's fine. But because I just
yeah, I don't really care.
Oh, it's not the best show I've ever seen. Therefore, we must stop watching it.
Because you did the thing that you always do, where we watch season 1 of something, and you're like, yeah, this is really good, and then season 2 rolls around, and you're like, novelty's worn off now.
I'm over this.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, just get to fucking Tetris already. That's why computers are important.
Look, Halt and Catch Fire is excellent. I'll have you know.
It was all right. Yeah, it was all right. And I'd have been happy to carry on with it. But anyway, let's all jokes aside, let's talk about this really depressingly dark movie Monster, written and directed by Patty Jenkins.
Yes. Hard to joke about, but not impossible.
I'm sure we'll find an inappropriate way of getting there somehow. Incidentally, before we continue, I just want to qualify that if I sound like a Muppet, it's because I have tissues stuffed up my nose currently because I have a flu. So
and you're not even in the UK currently. So how have you caught the super flu?
Well, I have Moroccan flu.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Is that some sort of different strain? Is it dangerous?
I don't know. It's just a flu. I don't know how you differentiate between one flu to the next. You just get sick and you're like, oh, I'm sick now. You have a few painkillers, stuff a few things up your nose, have a bath. You feel like shit for a week or 2 and then you carry on. I'm sure, look, I don't want to undermine this super flu situation because I hadn't heard of it until you told me about it, but apparently it's a big deal. So I hope you're all right. And
I'm fine.
I'm talking to the listener. I know you're all right.
Fine. Do you want to just address the listener the rest of this time?
I'm always addressing the listener.
Oh.
I always make these with the listener in mind, Sarah.
I thought, is that when you're telling them to fuck off? If you don't like it, you can fuck off. It's your most used phrase on this podcast.
No, then I'm talking to you.
Right, that makes sense, yeah. I'm sorry, I should also add a caveat that I had to come off my sleep medication this week. So I am dangerously underslept, and that makes me a little bit insane. So fun times all around.
I could hear all the listeners and their violins now. They're, these poor people, these poor podcasters.
I can't hear violins. I can hear the sound of people clicking off, shutting Spotify down.
I can hear the sound of sirens, car alarms, and beeping outside my hotel room. But that's pretty normal for where I am.
Casablanca.
What a peaceful
romantic Casablanca.
Don't go to Casablanca, incidentally. It's very, very noisy. Go for 2 days and you're good. Go see the mosque. It's really impressive. And then go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's stop macking off Morocco, because I'm sure the rest of it's lovely. Monster, written directed by Patty Jenkins. It's the first Charlize Theron movie I think we've done, is it not?
I think it might be, yeah.
I think it might be, yeah, which is surprising. There is another one that we'll get to. Very prolific. It's our second Christina Ricci feature. Can you name the other that we've done?
Ooh. Was she in Fear and Loathing?
Yes, well done.
Then yes, I can name the other.
This one came out in 2003, so it's a babyface Christina Ricci. She's obviously been around forever. Maybe we'll talk about that. But 2003. Did you see this when it came out?
Yes.
Did you like it?
Yes.
And did you go to the cinema to see it?
No, I don't believe I did. I don't remember seeing this one at the cinema.
What were the circumstances in which you saw it?
Look, you put a lot of stock into my memory and how good it is. More often than not, I don't remember the circumstances of my first viewing of most films.
Okay.
So I assume I rented it and watched it at home.
Ah, you see, so you paid for it like a good citizen.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
What other options are there?
Well, 2003, I think, was a big time for LimeWire. I think I spent a week downloading this.
At least a week.
Yeah.
On your dial-up internet.
Crappy pirate version, yeah.
There were pirates in this?
It's a pirate movie, yeah.
Oh, no.
Didn't you see the parrots? It's I don't feel good about it, but it's what happened, and I'm going to be honest about it. I made up for it by watching it twice on Amazon the other day. So there you go. But yeah, so in 2003, I watched it back then, and I haven't seen it since. It's a movie that I liked it, but I didn't have any kind of desire to go back and rewatch it.
Well, that's a lie.
Why?
Because we've watched this together.
No, have we?
Yes.
When?
Yes. I don't know, sometime in the last 5 years.
I do not remember that whatsoever. Okay, fair enough.
Well, the point is, you stole from Patty Jenkins, but since then, restorations have been made. Long story short.
I've made up for it by paying Jeff Bezos money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why is it here, Sarah? Why is it in your true crime season? Why this one?
Because Aileen Wuornos is a personal hero of mine. No, I can't even say that with a straight face. No, I find Aileen Wuornos to be a fascinating human. I've watched possibly 3 or 4, at least 3, maybe 4 documentaries about her. I kind of became a bit of a hyper fixation at one point, I will admit. So I know a lot about Aileen Wuornos. If you're looking for somewhere to start, the 2 original Nick Broomfield documentaries are a very good jumping off point. There's a very recent Netflix documentary, which is all right, but if you're fairly well versed already, there's not much there that's new information. But yeah, I don't know, just a person that I found fascinating for the longest time, because she doesn't fit the mold of the average serial killer.
Yeah, America's first female serial killer, right? Apparently.
I believe so. Yeah, she's sorry.
So it is written.
So it is written.
Wasn't that important? We didn't need to go back to that.
No. She's often mistakenly referred to as the first female serial killer, but you're correct in that she's the first female American serial killer.
Yeah.
That's an important distinction, because there's a bunch that came before her.
It sounds like you've written some down.
Yeah, maybe. Well, the first is generally believed to be Elizabeth Bathory, which is sort of, again, a very unique situation, and record keeping wasn't anywhere close to what it is these days. So a lot of that has been sort of cobbled together from anecdotal information, and nobody really knows. So it's sort of hard to say. Delphine Lalaurie, Lavinia Fisher, Mary Ann Cotton was, I think, the UK's first female serial killer.
Right, okay. No,
Very long time ago.
I believe who the character Nick Cotton was named after in EastEnders. Nasty Nick Cotton.
Yeah, definite correlation there.
Yeah.
But yeah, she poisoned 11 of her children and 3 of her husbands.
Fucking hell. 11 of her children, meaning she had more than 11 and she chose to only kill those 11.
Presumably, yeah.
Bloody hell.
Did the remaining children have like a real superiority complex? It's like, I'm one of the good ones.
They must have. Maybe they helped.
Maybe. But I kind of want to see a film about her.
Yeah.
Where's the Mary Ann Cotton story?
Maybe your mate, what's his name? The true crime, glossy true crime guy. Maybe he'll do a version.
My mate. I hate Ryan Murphy. It's interesting you mentioned Ryan Murphy, actually, because there is another instance of Aileen Wuornos representation in American Horror Story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I forget which season it was. Maybe it was Hotel. I can't really remember. But yeah, Lily Rabe played her, I believe.
Right.
And also Jean Smart played Aileen Wuornos in the made-for-TV movie that came out before this one.
Ah, okay. There was bound to be a made-for-TV movie in there somewhere. I hadn't
feel
seen
like
that
they
in any of my
rushed
research.
that out.
What, before you think they got wind of this coming out and they're like, oh, we better smash one out?
No, I can't remember when it... Yeah, I assumed.
Yeah.
As a clarification you didn't really need to make, but thank you. No, I think the made-for-TV film came a number of years before this. I mean, like when the case kind of hit the headlines when she was arrested, they really like shout that film out to monopolize.
Do you know what? Now you mention it, I think there was something in that documentary we watched about this, possibly, because I think some of the officers may have been involved, and it was more of it didn't feel like an honest retelling of the story, more of a propaganda type situation.
Yeah, it didn't feel very balanced. But then, I don't know if this does either.
Yeah, that's an interesting point that you make there. You know, just before we get onto that, maybe, you know, the latest documentary on Netflix, did you find that covered a lot of the same ground that the 2 Nick Broomfield documentaries covered?
I think so, yeah. I think there's only so much to be gleaned from interview footage with Aileen herself. It was interesting to see from the perspective of a correspondent and a longtime friend. And it was also interesting. It was the first time I'd seen any kind of information regarding the police officer that knew one of the victims had been put away for rape and chose to bury that information. So there were a couple of bits that were interesting, but a lot of it was a bit of a rehash, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that those 2 Nick Broomfield documentaries, they were really interesting. We did watch those together. Are you sure you're not thinking of what we watched and not the film?
I'm pretty sure we watched Monster together, but...
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely watched those together, and I found them really interesting because my knowledge of the case was almost zero. It was, as far as I was concerned, I watched the movie and then that's all I knew, really, the Patty Jenkins one when it came out. But what I found really fascinating in the Broomfield documentaries were the kind of the vultures that surrounded her while the case was going on. We'll talk about actually what happened in that year between 89 and 90. But just before we get into that, I wanted to mention that because the Broomfield documentary, I didn't realize how insane her lawyer was and her adopted mother, like, and just trying to absolutely take advantage of the whole situation. And they were insane people.
Mm-hmm. Parasite.
They should be locked up. Yeah.
Agreed.
So you mentioned earlier that you feel like perhaps the Patty Jenkins film is not as well balanced as it could have been or should have been. Like, what do you? Can you expand on that? How do you feel that it's not? Do you think it's a
So
bit biased?
I think it's perhaps very pro Aileen. And look, I don't know. This isn't something I'd necessarily considered until I watched it again this time. I've seen this film, I don't know, maybe like 6-7 times over the years.
Yeah,
And I feel like
it's one that you put on Saturday nights with some
it's a
popcorn
Christmas
every year.
favourite, Dan.
It's a Christmas movie, yeah.
Yeah. um, no, I think it's excellent. I think it's a really good movie. But yeah, it's not necessarily something I considered until I sat down this time and did a bit of self-reflection and thought, like, from an unbiased perspective, obviously I have a vested interest. I am very sympathetic towards Aileen Wuornos and her circumstances and upbringing. But I think a lot of people equate that sympathetic view with a view of innocence or victimhood. And I think that view is maybe lacking in nuance because she did some really heinous things. She was a serial killer.
Yeah, I think that this film is telling things from a perspective of Aileen. And I think that, yes, it maybe isn't the most balanced telling of this story, but I think that it does what it sets out to do. And especially that you mentioned that the other film, the 90s one, the direct-to-TV version, maybe this was in some way a kind of response to that, in that, look, let's explore Aileen and how she got to where she got to and how the system failed her. I feel like this story is in many ways the complete opposite of the Snowtown movie that we watched, where there's a guy murdering people because he loves murdering. This is someone that got into a situation where she was defending herself and then, made really bad decisions after that. And no one's defending that. And I didn't get the impression that the filmmakers were defending that. I just felt like that they were exploring the circumstances surrounding her and how she got to that point.
I guess the perspective that I talked about is one that I've seen online. It's not one that I share. I do think it's quite a pro Aileen film, but I think
that's fair.
In doing this sort of self-reflection, I fear maybe I've veered too far in the other direction in trying to appear balanced myself. But I think you sort of hit on something quite interesting then, because it is from the perspective of Aileen. Yeah. So in that, it is going to sort of appear more pro her.
Yeah, because I mean, she got to where she got to, and it's interesting. It's one of those stories while I was watching it, thinking, if I'd have had her life, then who's to say that I wouldn't have done exactly the same things that she'd done?
Oh, and yeah, there's a lot to be said for nature versus nurture.
Yeah, and that's the point that is actually made in the movie by the Bruce Dern character. Mm-hmm. But I like the way that this movie opens, and I feel like it really sets the tone with that. I feel like it really sets that you're in the mindset of Aileen, and it sort of starts like she's telling the story of her life, but through a series of flashbacks that are told like a movie, sort of like a home movie.
Yeah.
And there's some really, like, if you pause it at various points during that opening couple of minutes, like what you're seeing is really terrible things happening to this child, but the way that she's explaining it is maybe with a false optimism and naivety, and that I felt like that gave you a really good impression of how she saw things. And I don't know if that was just like a coping mechanism that she got, that she had, but I felt like the opening of this movie did a really good job of telling me who she was and the things that happened to her, but really cleverly not exploiting those, not showing us any kind of graphic situations, but you kind of understand it. You have to pay attention, but you really get a feel for her life in a short space of time, which I think is really cleverly done. And I love the way that it cuts to, she says, I really felt that I was going to be happy and have a good life. And then all of those feelings stop, and it cuts to her under a bridge and the title card pops up. And I think that's one of the best openings that I've seen all season. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was really masterfully done, but it is all her perspective, and I think it sets that tone straight away. I don't think there's any doubt in that for me.
No, I
What
agree.
did you think? What did you think of the opening part of it? Did you get that from it, or am I
Yeah,
barking up the wrong
yeah.
tree? Or
No, absolutely. I think we're on the same page there. And I think the first person perspective was always intentional on behalf of Patty Jenkins, because they basically, she had Aileen's full blessing to make this movie prior to her execution, obviously. And she gave them sort of unprecedented access to written materials. And I think it's Aileen's best friend Dawn, who was in the Netflix documentary that we spoke about briefly, gave them access to hundreds of letters and correspondence between herself and Aileen. I'm gonna switch up with the pronunciation because it's written Aileen, but I know it's Eileen. So don't correct me because I know.
we
I'm
could
already
say Lee.
We could just say Lee. But yeah, because they never actually say Eileen in the film. They always I'm not going to say never, but she's always referred to as Lee.
I feel like herself and her friends, her partner, Selby, is it? I feel like they refer to her as Lee.
Yeah. But yeah, I think because of this access that they had to these letters, it probably massively informed things like that intro, because they got a real first-hand perspective of how she wrote, how she expressed herself in that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would like to think that was pretty damn accurate.
It feels like it from the documentaries that I've seen and stuff. It does feel like she had a very unique way of viewing the world, a kind of an unusual perspective. And I don't know if that's just the way she was, or if it was just a way to cope with the trauma, or maybe a bit of both. The way that she coped with the horrendous situations that she was put through throughout her life. Like, there's another line in it, like very nonchalantly, like she's remembering a time when she was 13, and she says, "Oh, I know I was 13 because that's when I gave the baby up for adoption." But and then sort of moves on, and you're like, "Fucking hell!" Like, it's the way that she expresses this trauma. It's just like, it's interesting because it's like how you and I would just discuss our day at work, like what
it's so
happened at work.
normal for her.
Yeah, and it's tragic, and but that was her life, and I thought that was a very interesting way to show all of this stuff.
Do you know much about Patty Jenkins before we get too much into the weeds?
Patty. No. I know that she made a movie called Monster, and then she made a movie called Wonder Woman. I don't know if have you seen that one?
I have, and nothing in between, bizarrely.
No features in between. I think she did a lot of TV, a bit like Kimberly Peirce, perhaps, a director we spoke about when we covered Boys Don't Cry a couple of weeks ago. But she did a lot of TV in between. I have watched an interview with her, and she did kind of explain that when she takes on a feature, it has to be exactly right, and she has to be really passionate about it, because she's going to spend 2-3 years making this thing and being completely in the weeds about it. So she has to be really passionate about it before she takes it on. So she finds, I think, TV quite appealing, because you can sort of go and do a pilot and do something and then sort of move on. And I thought that was interesting. And it seems like she's one of these directors that's very, very meticulous and is planning everything to the nth degree. So you've probably got to pick and choose your projects, but to make Monster, and for it to be a film that won an Oscar for Charlize Theron's performance, and then not make another feature until 2017 with Wonder Woman, is an insane amount of time. You would think that there would be more in between, and I would love to have seen more films, but yeah, maybe she's done some really good TV that I'm not aware of. I know she has done TV, but and maybe I've seen it. Maybe she did a few episodes of *Halt and Catch Fire*, but I just didn't know.
But you bailed on it too soon.
Yeah.
It's really interesting that you have heard that, because I've sort of heard some information to the contrary. In that I'm not for a second going to say that she isn't meticulous, that she doesn't choose projects carefully. I'm sure that is true. But something that I read was that after the success of Monster, and it was reasonably, well, critically successful, if not commercially. Let's not forget Charlize Theron won the Oscar in 2004.
Oh, we'll get to Charlize.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I did also hear that she was constantly shopping around concepts and movies and that people weren't picking her up, which
right.
I don't know if this is just feminist killjoy part of Sarah coming out, but to me, I'm like, if that was a man had made Monster in 2003, I feel like they would be getting offered like a Jurassic World or, really big stuff. And apparently she had concepts for Thor, The Dark World that were turned down, never came to fruition, which kind of makes you wonder if she'd been behind it, maybe that would have been watchable.
Maybe it would have been a good movie.
Yeah.
God forbid.
But then we've also seen Wonder Woman 84, so maybe not.
Well, yeah.
But I think, I don't know if sexism is partly to blame there, or maybe she is pickier than she's kind of let on in the stuff that I read. But yeah, I was surprised. I was very surprised.
No, do you know what? It's funny because before doing the research for this movie, that's the impression that I had also, is that she kind of struggled to get projects. And now that we're having this conversation, I'm thinking maybe it's just a bit of both. Like you said, that she had ideas for movies and she shopped them around because those were ideas that she was passionate about. And when they weren't getting made, maybe a studio went, well, look, make Dumb and Dumber 2, and then we'll make your passion project. And maybe she was like, yeah, but I don't want to make Dumb and Dumber 2. So maybe it was a bit of both.
The natural choice on the back of this, surely.
Yeah.
Also, so female Dumb and Dumber when?
So I think there's, I mean, I think it's well documented at this point that female filmmakers struggle to get things made. I mean, even when we're choosing lineups for seasons, we try to be kind of balanced in choosing male stars, male directors, female stars, female directors, and we try to mix things up as much as we can. But even with that in mind, still 80% of the movies, 90% of the movies we cover are directed by men. And that's just because there are way more movies being directed by men. And that is, I don't think that's right, but that is the way that it is. I don't know if the tide's changing. I think not fast enough, but it's funny. Like you look at someone as prolific as a Catherine Bigelow, like you look at how many movies she's made, it's not as many as Ridley Scott. It's not as many as any other male director, really, when you line up a career spanning the same time frame. So I think it's right. I think there is the inherent sexism there, and I think you're right to bring it up.
On the flip side of that, Catherine Bigelow's never directed a House of Gucci, so swings and roundabouts.
That's true, yeah. And it's just not to say that she's always going to make a brilliant film. You brought up Wonder Woman 84, and I think that's an important point because that movie was dog shit. And it's hard to know with these big tent poles who's responsible for what. Like, I don't want to go Wonder Woman 2017, brilliant movie, I really enjoyed it, that's because of Patty Jenkins, and then go, oh, Wonder Woman 84, it was a shit show, and that was because of the studio. Like, I'm sure the studio was equally involved in both of those movies. Maybe not, I don't know. But Wonder Woman, the original Wonder Woman, feels way more in keeping with like the sort of things we were exploring in Monster, which feels weird to say, but like
I know what you mean, though.
Like, it's almost, Monster in a way is told almost like I wouldn't say like a superhero origin story, but like more like a supervillain, like a vigilante type origin story. It feels more in keeping with like a Joker movie than it does anything else. I don't want to make light of it, but
no, I'm laughing because it does sound, on the face of it, sounds like a really funny comparison, but I don't disagree.
Well, look, I mean, you watch any Batman movie, and he's beating the shit out of criminals, And most of them are probably going to be dead from head injuries and stuff. We're like, yeah, great. But Aileen Wuornos shoots a rapist in the chest, and we're like, oh, you shouldn't do that. Like, it is. There's just this weird kind of cut off, and I know one's real and one's not. That's an important distinction to make.
I think it's because Batman wasn't real and wasn't executed in 2002.
True.
But then I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Maybe he should be, though. That's the point.
Maybe he has committed heinous crimes.
Yeah, I think the Ben Affleck version should be.
Yeah, agreed. I think, do you know what? I think that George Clooney should be as well. Throw him in there.
Yeah. No, but he's got the back credit card. He can pay for his way out.
Yeah. Do you know what else he's got? Nipples on his suit.
Yeah. He would never get on in prison, would he?
Or he'd get on really well.
Yeah, probably that one, actually. Yeah. Be really
one
popular.
Or the other. Yeah.
Oh, Bruce, welcome to the shower. Yeah, it's funny. Like, on the one hand, I can see the through line between Monster and Wonder Woman, and on the other hand, it feels like such a removal. But I can see the similarities there in that we want to tell a story about a female, a woman that was maybe underestimated and kind of had I'm not phrasing this correctly. Managed to get some kind of power back.
Yes.
Again, I say Wonder Woman is not a real character. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, really?
But I feel like the Aileen story is a lot of it is about taking back the control. Right? She'd suffered years of trauma and abuse by men, and yeah, the initial murder was self-defense, and maybe some of the others were. I don't really know. Only one person really knows or did know. But I feel like a lot of it was maybe about taking some power back, where she was in control in that situation. She had that gun and she could choose what happens next.
I think you're probably right. And obviously, Aileen Wuornos famously had her lasso of truth that she would use. So I definitely see the through lines that you're talking about.
Yeah, she had that invisible plane.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She's mates with Chris Pine.
One of the better Chris's.
Yeah, I like Hemsworth.
Yeah, but no one likes Pratt.
No.
He's the worst Chris.
I think some people do. I think a lot of Christians do.
Well, there we go.
Well, look, let's not alienate. I don't know how many Christians listen to our podcast, actually.
Probably not that many.
There must be at least one. And we don't want to offend you. It's fine. You believe what you believe. But don't be a cunt about it. That's what I would say.
Ironically, we are recording this on a Sunday morning. So I'm sure they're all busy currently.
Yeah. Yeah,
you brought up an interesting point when you talked about the intro, actually, and Eileen's sort of childlike optimism, I want to call it. And I think, look, I'm no psychologist. I've had a lot of therapy, but that's not the same thing. But I do know that a lot of people kind of end up in Arrested Development, which incidentally was not a joke, but Charlize Theron was actually in Arrested Development. But a lot of people who experience trauma as children kind of mentally stay there.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if that was sort of maybe adding to the whole thing, maybe because children by default are quite optimistic, aren't they? You don't know not to be.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So
I think it's a learned behaviour to be pessimistic, and when you start to learn about the world, it's quite easy to use that as a kind of a defence mechanism. But yeah, I think you're right. It's quite like a childlike innocence she had about her.
I think so, yeah, like an idealism. And I think
absolutely.
Maybe partly that was kind of growing up in the States as well, because we don't necessarily have an equivalent over here, but obviously growing up, they have it drilled into them that they can have the white picket fence and the great job and the wife and kids and everything's going to be hunky-dory. It's the American dream. You know, we don't really have that, but it is a big thing that's sort of instilled in people, especially
Yeah,
when she was
land of the
growing up.
free.
So
Yeah, you can
maybe
have
that's
whatever you want,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
as long as you don't criticise Trump.
Yeah, on social media.
Yeah.
Crazy.
We're not ever allowed into America, by the way.
No, I know. I saw a tweet the other day that was just like, oh no, apparently if you criticize Trump in the last 5 years, you can't be let into the States. I can't imagine somebody going back 5 years through my social media. They'd only have to go back 20 minutes.
Yeah. That's so true. And also, like, isn't that the end for American tourism then? Like,
Well,
who are you letting in?
It's already massively dipped. Look, we're not here to talk about this. I feel like we're going off more on tangents while you've been away because we don't talk a great deal during the week.
Yeah,
So this
that's
is like
true.
half movie review, half catch up. And I'm
Yeah,
sorry
yeah.
everybody's been subjected to it.
So did you think, how do you feel about the performance of Charlize Theron then and her take on Aileen?
I mean, phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
You've seen enough footage of Aileen in documentaries to know that was pretty on the money, right?
I mean, I think she absolutely nailed this. I think it's tricky, isn't it? Because when you see an actor and they're playing a real person, sometimes actors fall into the trap of doing an impression of somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that could have been a problem here because the way she looks, which is probably the least important thing, but like amazing job with makeup. But the way that she actually carries herself, the way that she speaks, her facial expressions are absolutely spot on. But it's not in a way that takes me out of the movie because sometimes I think that the most obvious example for me is Rami Malek playing Freddie Mercury. All I'm seeing is Rami Malek playing Freddie Mercury in that. It feels like I'm watching Spitting Image or something. It's not like, and it takes me out of the movie. I mean, it didn't help that movie's not very good as well. But
And famously, you love Queen.
And I can't stand Queen as well, yeah. But I really like Freddie Mercury as a person. I thought he was really like an interesting person. But I think sometimes when you're playing a real person, you can fall into that trap of doing an impression. But I think Charlize absolutely nailed the balance of giving us a portrayal of a real person and nailing her mannerisms, but then also giving us the subtlety of a performance. And I think that I think she's never been better than in this. I fucking love Charlize Theron. I think she's fucking great. She's done some great movies. I think she's maybe the best female action star we've got as well. And like, that's my favorite genre. So
Atomic Blonde, criminally underrated.
Amazing movie. And also obviously Fury Road. I really liked the first Old Guard movie. The second Old Guard we didn't finish. Rubbish. But
not because of her.
Not because of her. But because I think like action's my favorite genre. Like she stands out to me because I really love her in those movies. But also like in this, she's just absolutely nails it. And I think this is her, hands down, her best ever performance. And that Oscar it's I don't know, I wouldn't say that it's rare that the Oscars get it right, but they don't always get it right. And this was absolutely the right call. And I think that Charlize did an amazing job. And I think that Jenkins also did an amazing job at directing Theron in this. And they worked together and, you know, they came up with this portrayal, as you say, through piles and piles of paperwork and letters. So they really did their research and it really paid off, I think. I think she's fucking great in this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. I don't think Charlize ever met Aileen, but she did sort of study her for a long time to get everything so on the money. But you said, like, I completely agree with everything you've just said about performances that are intended to be a real person can often go a little bit too big and look, you know, come across more like an impression than a performance. But do you think in this instance it helps that you know how the real Aileen spoke, how she presented, do you think to the layperson who is unfamiliar with her that they might think it was too big of a performance? Because it is quite out there, but then the real person also was quite out there.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I remember watching this in 2003 or 2004, and I don't think that I knew about the case at the time. I knew that it was real, but because of the movie. So I was unfamiliar with the real life Aileen at the time. And I remember being really floored by Theron's performance because I think at that time, what are we talking, 2003? So for me personally, I'd seen her in that gorilla movie, whatever that was called. What else? Oh, Devil's Advocate, which I think is the movie that Patty Jenkins saw and said, "Oh, I want Charlize in this."
Mm-hmm.
So I was
did
familiar
screen
with her.
test a bunch of other people, but she wanted Charlize from day one.
Right, okay. And she's, from what I remember, I think The Devil's Advocate is one that's on our to watch pile, so we'll have to watch that soon because I really like that movie, and I haven't seen it for a while.
20 years.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that again. But from what I remember, she's good in that. And I remember her popping up every now and again in the 90s as wife of insert John Grisham character. Like it was, what's that Matthew McConaughey one where I'm a white saviour saving black people as a lawyer because I'm a lawyer and I'm the best in the world. I think it was called A View to Kill or something.
Yeah.
But she was always like the wife of that person. And she was wife of Robert De Niro in Men of Honor.
Oh, is it A Time to Kill? Isn't it A View to Kill like a Bond film or something?
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. 100 Christians shouting at the podcast. Now that's a Bond movie.
That's a Fleming, not a Grisham.
Yeah. So I always really liked her. I always felt like she stood out in those roles, which weren't the best roles. They weren't very meaty. She didn't get that much screen time, not much to dig into there, but she always stood out to me. And she stood out.
Yeah, I bet she did.
Well, yes. She stood out to me in Devil's Advocate. And then I saw her in Monster and was like, wow, she's fucking great. And I was really happy that she was recognised for that and that she's had the career that she's had. I think she's had a fantastic career. She's done some really interesting stuff and a lot of really diverse stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we mentioned it earlier, but she was in Arrested Development, I believe, season 3.
She was in the Blue Man Group, I believe, wasn't she?
No. She was like the, what's a sensitive way of saying this?
Oh, I don't know what's coming.
Well, she played a character that Michael was pursuing, I believe. It's been a while since I've seen season 3, but she was like mentally not all there, shall we say?
Yeah, I remember now. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very funny. But I think it's something that a lot of people forget is on her filmography.
Yeah.
Because it seems so divorced from everything else that she's done. But she has done it all. Like a couple of things I've loved that she's been in, I want to say recently, but it's not anymore. She was in a film called Tolly with Mackenzie Davis, which was excellent. She was in Diablo Cody's Young Adult, which I think she just absolutely knocked it out of the park in there as well.
Yeah.
Just in a ton of stuff. But as you say, sort of, do you know what else? Something that everybody seems to forget when it comes to Charlize Theron. It doesn't get talked about very much, but kind of cements how much of a chameleon she is. When she played Megyn Kelly in Bombshell.
Oh, yes, of course she was in Bombshell, yeah.
But that's it. She's done so much. She's got such a wide breadth of work that it's easy to forget about genuinely excellent performances because her career is just peppered with them.
Yeah, you're right. And I think maybe that is, in a weird way, that's a compliment because when I see Charlize Theron, I'm seeing the character that she's portraying. I'm not necessarily seeing her. And that must be very, very difficult.
Especially at her level of fame.
Her level of fame as well, yeah. And, she stands out. Like, she put Charlize Theron in a room full of people. She stands out. So it's really, really indicative of the kind of performances she gives. Like she kind of just, for me anyway, I get lost in her character. Fury Road, absolutely brilliant performance, and she's not. She's the main focus of that movie. Where I think maybe a lot of people were disappointed that it wasn't a Mad Max movie.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. That's a fucking masterpiece, that movie. And that's one of the things that I really liked about it, is that it was surprising. It shifted the focus to a different character. And it made sense within the context of the movie, because that's what it was about. And if it was about Mad Max doing that, let's not talk about Mad Max. She's great in it. We'll get to
just standing here smiling as you're going on, and I'm thinking, should I stop him? No.
Yeah, stop me. Let's not burn all of our Fury Road juice here, because we'll get to that movie. Our Fury Road gasoline. There you go. Yeah, she's just. I don't necessarily think maybe does she get the praise that she deserves? Do you think that she's kind of underrated?
She got an Oscar.
20 odd years ago, I know she got the Oscar,
but she's still like Oscar-winning actor Charlize Theron. True. Yeah, I think maybe. I think something she's done quite well. To go back a couple of minutes to when I was saying, like, at her level of fame, it's hard to go into a movie and see just the character and not the actor. And I think it's not always acting ability, because look at Tom Cruise. I do think he's really good at what he does, but whenever he's in anything, all I'm seeing is Tom Cruise. Yeah. And I think it's because he's not just an actor, he's a celebrity.
Yeah.
And it's something that I hate when they reach that level of fame, and I know too much about him in his personal life.
Well, yeah.
So it's really difficult to divorce him from the characters that he portrays. Whereas I think Charlize Theron has actually been reasonably good at keeping her private life private.
Yeah.
Which I think, to my mind at least, helps me buy her in these roles. Because I don't know a great deal about her.
Yeah, I think there's probably something in that too. Yeah. I mean, I only found out that she was married to Stuart Townsend for years when I Googled her this morning from Shooting Fish.
Yep.
And was he in Queen of the Damned?
I believe he was, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know that either, but yeah, she's fucking great. Maybe we'll do a Charlize season one day.
I think we should. Yeah.
I agree.
Why not? But something I do know about her personal life, and that might be somewhat relevant to this show, is I don't know if you know this, but when I believe she was like 15, she was mid-teens, I want to say. Obviously was raised in South Africa and had a somewhat rocky home life. And when she was about 15, she saw her mom shoot and kill her alcoholic dad because he'd been threatening to murder the both of them. So I imagine having that sort of trauma in her background, probably, not to downplay it and not to say, I'm not for a second suggesting that it's a good thing, but I think maybe she was able to like tap into that a little bit for this performance.
Yeah, I didn't know that actually. That's fascinating. I'm sure that was a big part of why she felt like she could connect with this person in some way. You know, you need to have a way in to that character. I think this is one of those rare times where I look at it and go, yeah, nobody else could have played that role. And I thought that even before you told me that. So it's very interesting that she had that experience and that trauma, and that must have helped her, well, number one, decide to take the project, because there must have been a question. I'm sure her agents were going, are you sure you want to do this?
Oh,
Why
I don't
not be
know.
in Spider-Man 3?
No, I don't know. I feel like, especially back then, they were probably like, yeah, go ugly, you'll get the Oscar. Because that sort of became a bit of a thing, didn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's literally what they call it, is go ugly.
Right, is it?
Yeah. Which is horrendous. And that's a different conversation for a different day.
What about Christina Ricci in this? this is a young performance. She was, 23 in this? I feel like she's one of those actors that I feel like she's been around forever, but that's because she was a child star and
Yeah.
she's been alive as long as I have. So she has been around forever because to me, she has.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she was big in the 90s for a while, wasn't she? She's in the Addams Family. She was in Casper.
Yeah.
She was in Now and Then, like a bunch of seminal coming of age movies in the 90s. And then she really, really distanced herself from that. And I feel like this was, you could probably include Monster in this sort of time period. She sort of rebelled a little bit and started being in things like The Opposite of Sex and Buffalo 66, which were, quote unquote, a little bit controversial based on her prior image. And I feel like maybe this was an extension of that. She was kind of trying to distance herself from that squeaky clean child actor thing.
Yeah, no, there might be something in that actually, because child actors is a rabbit hole that we could go down, but let's choose not to because I don't want this to be a 3-hour editing exercise.
At least not until we've watched the new Corey Feldman documentary, anyway.
Yes, as soon as we possibly can. Yeah, you mentioned Buffalo 66 there, which is a film that I hadn't heard of until I went on to Letterboxd and looked at her credits, and I decided to watch it yesterday because it was on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
That's interesting, that one, because that one came out in 1998, so it was 5 years before Monster, but it was definitely in that period, as you say, where she did the family movies, the Addams Family, the Caspers, and some coming of age stuff, which I'm not that familiar with. But she did that movie, Buffalo 66. And as I say, I watched it yesterday. Now, I didn't love it. It wasn't really my cup of tea.
I didn't think it would be.
But it was very interesting. It was very experimental, and it did things that I hadn't seen done before. And I fucking hated the main character, and I hated lots about it, but it was interesting. And she was the best thing in it. She was great.
Yeah. A side note, Vincent Gallo is a piece of shit IRL. So
oh, really?
That's probably why you hated the main character.
Interesting. Okay, I probably would have hated it even more if I'd known that then.
Yeah. Weird dude.
Weird dude. But I'm glad that I watched it because it was unlike anything I'd seen before. And it did give me some nice context into the sorts of things that Ricci wanted to do in that time period. And as you say, maybe a bit of a rebuttal to that squeaky clean family image that I'm sure a lot of her representatives wanted to maintain at that time. She did a bit of a rebel on them.
I think a lot of child actors, when they want to break away from the child actor moniker and move into more adult roles, I think there's a sense of maybe wanting to prove themselves as well. So maybe that's why she looked for more meaty stuff.
Yeah.
She didn't want to be the girl from Casper forever.
Yeah, for sure. And I thought she was good in this. I mean, this is the Charlize Theron show. So I think for me personally, she's always going to be overshadowed by that. And also, I didn't particularly like her character very much in this. I found her to be a little bit, a bit annoying. Like I understood the struggle and stuff at the start of the movie, and when they meet, that was quite sweet. The way that was told at the skating. Do you call it a rink?
Believing.
Yeah, musical choices. I thought that was all interesting. I really liked her performance, but I didn't get on with the character very much, particularly when you get halfway through the movie and she's whining about, oh, you've got to take care of me, and I'm going to smash off my plaster off my arm because I'm hungry. So, well, go get a job then. Yeah, but it's not about her, but it's about that relationship, and also I suppose it had to be that way kind of because I felt like Aileen, part of that relationship, part of their dynamic, at least what was portrayed and how I felt about the performances in the movie, is that she wanted someone to love and care for and nurture. So it was interesting that, that character kind of had to be that way for that relationship to be portrayed in the way that it was. But I didn't particularly like her as a character, but I thought she was good in it.
Yeah. I think I agree with that. Obviously, Selby, not a real person, but based
No.
on real life Tyra Moore, who I believe Aileen was with for 5 years, but who's a bit of a recluse in real life, and actually asked Patty Jenkins not to have her likeness included, which is why they
Yeah.
invented the character of Selby. But it seems like a lot of the beats are broadly similar. The dynamic
Yeah.
seems roughly similar because obviously Aileen was the one who was going out and doing sex work in order to support them both. So it does seem like, in a vague way, it was fairly accurate.
Yeah, from the documentaries that I've seen, it feels like it was, and especially when you get to the final act and the situation with the phone tapping and speaking in the prison, like, and that's another thing. You're like, I don't really get on with this character, but also she is doing the right thing. You know,
She's a
she is.
fucking narc.
She's a grass. Yeah.
Snitches get stitches done.
Yeah, but I mean, I would have done exactly the same thing in her situation. You know, it's
What about if it was me?
what if you'd murdered seven men?
Yeah.
No, of course I wouldn't grass on you.
Answer carefully.
No.
No, yeah, I get what you're saying, but it's so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like in real life,
It
obviously,
is,
up until the point where Aileen was executed, she was still professing her love for Tyra,
Yeah.
and maybe the only person she ever truly loved, and was betrayed by. Oh God! And I know, I'm buying into the whole documentary bias and whatever else, but I just don't think you can separate her crimes from the events that happened to her that helped shape her.
I 100% agree, and perhaps that is common with, you'd notice more than me, but a lot of serial killers have probably suffered some kind of trauma. Some of them just are insane, and that's they were just born that way, and that's that. But I imagine a lot of people that kill kind of were not, I wouldn't say driven to it, but there were circumstances that happened in their life that led to that. And there are circumstances that can happen to any of us, really. What happens in your life is a lottery to a large degree.
I think a lot of it tends to boil down to neglect as well, because there are often signs that go as far back as childhood, and it's sort of a lack of parental caring, a lack of intervention, a lack of professional help that could have helped to mitigate these behaviors. I'm not for a second suggesting that killers are in any way victims, although you can be both, but also I think you have to sort of look at the systemic failures that helped them along their way.
100% agree, and that's what this movie is trying to do. It's looking at how Aileen was failed by the system and everybody in her life, and how she got to where she got to, and that's what this film is about. And it's not like, I feel like you have to look at each case separately. You can't just go, this person's a serial killer, let's send them to the gas chamber. Is that what they do? Or is it lethal injection? Whatever it is, I don't know.
It's other barbaric either way.
Yeah, this other person is a killer and we must do exactly the same thing. It's like, well, you know, I mean, I don't believe in a death penalty, so, I mean, there's that. But I think you've got to look at each case on its own merits, and it is slightly different. If she'd have killed one person in self-defense, that is different to her killing 7 people, and she should absolutely have been punished for that. Incorrect decisions, obviously.
Yes.
But also, like, you look at another serial killer who's going out seemingly randomly, picking people, killing them, doing
vulnerable people.
Vulnerable people, weird and unspeakable things, mutilating their bodies. Like, that's not what this was. It was a different kind of thing. And I think you've got to look at each case by its own, the information that's relevant to each case. And I don't think that I Googled female serial killers earlier, and it's quite rare apparently that they will pick random people and mutilate their bodies. It's a lot of the time there's some kind of motive behind it. So it's definitely like a gendered thing. Like, most people that kill and commit violence, as we know, are men. So I think that when you get a very famous female case, I think it's important to explore what is going on there. Why did this happen? And I think
But
in this
equally,
case,
I do think that you've sort of just answered the question there of why it's so big, why it got so much media attention, like because it is so rare.
yeah.
But yeah, as you were saying, you do need to look at everything, I think. But
Yeah.
you didn't ask for it, but my opinion is that this is just based on stuff that I've consumed over the years. I truly believe that the first instance was self-defense. By the time that happened, she was no stranger to criminality. She'd been arrested a bunch, obviously for prostitution, for theft, for assault, even for driving under the influence, like a bunch of different crimes. However, they're all so different to murder. So I don't think people just snap like that. I think there probably was an inciting incident. I think it probably did go down the way she said it, although she was somewhat of an unreliable narrator.
Yeah.
And I think probably that did alter her in some way. Like maybe she did just snap at that point. It was psychologically too much for her. Or perhaps it goes back to what you were saying, and it was to do with taking back power. And maybe she felt like she'd taken back some power in that moment and wanted to keep repeating that.
I mean, from watching the movie, that's how I kind of felt about it. There's an interesting shot going back to the start of the movie where she's considering committing suicide, and she's got the gun, and it's sort of hanging between her legs, and it's maybe the longest barrel handgun I've ever seen. Like there's something in that, particularly how the gun was sort of positioned. I do feel like it was about taking back some sort of power in the situation. But I feel like the way that she justified it to herself was that she was trying to stop other people from being hurt and assaulted. And that's how she justified it. But I think for me, really, the psychological reason was because it felt like she had the control in that situation now. I've got the gun. I know that nothing's going to happen that I don't want to happen. And that was kind of it. I mean, that's how I felt about it anyway, right up until the point where she murdered Herschel in cold blood.
Herschel, hop along, Herschel.
Yeah, hop along.
Sorry, that's a spoiler for The Walking Dead if you've never seen it. Yeah. We haven't really spoken about the surrounding actors, actually, because there are a lot of those guys in this movie.
I was going to bring up Bruce Dern was the first one I was going to mention.
The legend that is Bruce Dern.
Surprise Bruce Dern. I don't think I knew who Bruce Dern was when I watched this movie. I probably knew who Laura Dern was before I knew who Bruce Dern was.
I beg your pardon. Bruce Dern is in the best film of all time, The Burbs.
Of course he is. Yeah, of course he is. I'd forgotten about that. I'd seen that at that point. Yeah, but I don't think when I saw The Burbs and I saw Monster, I don't think I went, oh, it's the crazy military neighbor guy from The Burbs. They're such different performances.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why do you think that character is in this film?
Oh.
What does he bring to it?
I don't know. That's not something
he's
I've really thought about.
He's like a rare sympathetic character, isn't he? Towards, like, he gives Aileen a sandwich, he gives her a beer, she's renting a storage room from him, and he's like, "Nah, don't worry, pay me when you get the money." And I thought that it was interesting because that character in the third act of the movie explains that he empathizes with Aileen because he went to war and he's suffered a lot of trauma and is suffering from PTSD. So I think that there's comparison between those two characters there. They both were dealt a shitty hand. So he's like, yeah, look, I understand why you are the way you are. I get it. And I'm here for you and I'm trying to help you. Don't shoot people in the chest. Try not to do that. But it feels like he understands that. And it's also interesting because I think Patty Jenkins comes from a military family. So I'm sure she's seen a lot of that PTSD. And maybe that was a way in for her as well to this story. Seeing those kind of similarities there between someone that suffered abuse and neglect their entire life, and how that is kind of comparable to being in the army, seeing death and murder all of the time, and killing yourself as well, and how that affects you, and the PTSD associated with that. So I think that's why they, because at first I saw him and I did that kind of that meme Leonardo DiCaprio thing, and I was like pointing at the screen, yeah. Oh, it's Bruce Dern. Oh, you were great in A Driver. I forgot you were in The Burbs, Bruce Dern, but you are great in that as well. But I was kind of taken aback for a minute. I was like, this feels like a weird casting. But he was but then later on, the performance is very sweet and very sympathetic. And it got to the end of the movie, and I was like, yeah, I get it. I totally get it. I'm really glad that he was in this movie, because it always also runs the risk of being a little bit oppressive, doesn't it? Like,
yes, I think those small moments of kindness do sort of help alleviate some of the gloom.
It's been a tough season, Sarah. I'm not going to lie to you.
I did tell you up top.
I think next week's episode, which we've already recorded actually, is a rare bit of respite in this very dark season. But I felt like that was a rare moment of sunshine in this as well, when there's a couple of random acts of kindness there that he was showing to Aileen. I thought that was very sweet, and I liked that.
Yeah,
and I think it needed it.
I really like your point about the war-induced PTSD, actually, because that's not something I'd considered, but that makes so much sense. Because I think people generally sort of think of PTSD as being like one big trauma that you're suffering the after effects of. But actually, both in the case of a war veteran and Aileen Wuornos from her childhood, it's just lots of smaller traumas stacked.
It's an accumulating it, and it's a snowball effect, isn't it, as well? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a really interesting point. I like that. But
I thought it was important to have that in there, I thought. But
yeah.
Or you said that there were some other those people.
Those guys
in it. There was the policeman who I recognised from a bunch of stuff, but I can't remember his name and what I've seen him in.
I don't know. Well, you also mentioned you mentioned Scott Wilson already.
Oh,
Herschel.
yeah.
He's one of those guys for sure.
Russ Blackwell. That's who I mean.
Russ Blackwell. What do we know him from?
Russ Blackwell. Ant-Man.
Oh.
I know him from Battle LA, which I've seen more than twice.
You do. Why?
I quite like it.
Wait, which one's Battle LA?
Aaron Eckhart shoots aliens in the head and explodes them with petrol stations.
I think maybe I was getting that muddled up with Skyline, Beyond Skyline.
Maybe. That's another one that we've watched. I like dumb alien invasion movies, even if objectively they're shit. Yeah. I do enjoy them if it's just people shooting at aliens. I don't know what that says about me, really. Oh, he's in, this is the other one I know him from, Universal Soldier Day of Reckoning, which is supremely underrated. It's a great film.
I'll take your word for it. We've also got Lee Tergesen, who
right,
crops up in a lot of stuff. He's in a bunch of horror movies actually, but for some reason the only things my brain is giving me are oh God, what was it called? That one with Luke Evans in it.
Shaft?
Not Shaft. And also he was in the Collector sequel.
I'm just looking at his credits actually, because Lee Tergesen, is he the first person that Aileen kills?
I think so, yes, yeah.
I did sort of recognise him, yeah. The Collection, yeah. I've seen, how many of those movies are there? 3?
There's 2. There was a rumoured third that never came to fruition.
I've seen both of those movies once and thought they were all right.
He was in both of the Wayne's Worlds.
Oh, okay. Oh, I know who he is in Wayne's World. Oh, God, I would never have noticed.
That's the Luke Evans movie I was thinking of.
Okay.
Underrated.
Speaking of Catherine Bigelow earlier, he was in Point Break.
Oh, of course.
Movie connections.
We're just building on our 6 degrees of separation knowledge, aren't we?
There's a movie here that I had no recollection that I ever saw called The Forgotten. It was in that.
Funny that.
Directed by Joseph Ruben, who directed other movies. One with Macaulay Culkin, who was a child actor. Movie connections.
Yes.
Do you know what I nearly watched the other day because it had Charlize Theron in it? It was Reindeer Games. And then I was like, Ben Affleck's in this. Let's not watch this.
It's not worth it.
Unless it's Phantoms, I'm not watching it.
Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms, yo.
Yeah.
Lastly, we've also got Pruitt Taylor Vince, who was also in The Walking Dead. Connections.
More connections. Great.
Yeah. But yeah,
I watched F1 the movie for the 5th time yesterday. Kerry Condon was in that, and she was also in The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead?
Lord, The Walking Dead.
It's a children's version. There's probably a child spin-off version of that now called The Walking Dead.
It wasn't The Walking Dead for Scott Wilson.
Hop along Wilson. There's also a canine version for dogs, and it's called Walkies Dead.
Now that I would watch. That's the one spin-off I would watch.
Yeah.
And that's probably coming soon.
But 100%. It's in development, I believe, yeah.
They've exhausted every other avenue at this point. So.
Yeah, there are so many. Is there anything else you want to speak about in terms of Monster and the movie, or anything else that you want to mention before we start winding up?
I think it's important to mention that this movie was shot in only 28 days, which is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
It was written in 7 weeks, and production was set up in 2 months.
Holy cow.
So they banged this out.
That's fascinating to knowing how Patty Jenkins' process works and the level of detail that she goes into. How I think for me, this is the best film that we've covered in this season so far. It's my favourite. I think it's the most well made and the most singular vision movie. I think it's really, really good. I really like it. And to have nailed that, an Oscar-winning performance, I think the writing is great. We haven't mentioned it, but I think the script is really good as well.
Yeah.
I think that's fascinating that they managed to get all of that done in that short time.
Insane. But you say like how meticulous she is about her projects. What they're probably neglecting to include in those stats is the 17 years of thinking about it that she did prior.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And her way into the project via the various elements that we've spoken about. And it kind of feels like one of those lightning in a bottle situation where crew and cast come together and just absolutely nail this thing. Right place, right time. But yeah, for me anyway, out of all of the movies we've watched so far, and like I said earlier, we have watched next week's movie already. This movie is even better than what we're covering next week.
That's not that hard. It's not that hard.
I think it's my favourite of the season. It's my favourite of my season so far.
Okay. There's one more, those guys, that I didn't mention.
All right.
And it's one for the horror fans, because one of the arresting officers near the end is Kane Hodder, who obviously...
Oh, really?
Yeah, who famously played Jason Voorhees, Victor Crowley. He's a big dude in the horror space. Well, he's a big dude in real life as well.
Yeah, you think I would have noticed it.
Yeah, but he's big in the horror space. So yeah, one for us.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'm glad that he did that. It must have been a sort of maybe he's mates with someone or just was really interested in the story. But that's interesting. Yeah,
maybe. And the only other thing I really wanted to mention was that I was sort of under the impression that this movie was universally loved. But in my research, went to Reddit and discovered that was not the case.
Really?
Yeah. This film has quite a few haters. Almost all of them men, interestingly.
How very, very interesting indeed. I mean, you're right. It's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. If you don't want to like a movie, don't like it. But I suspect that a lot of those are for reasons that are not necessarily to do with craft. And maybe just opinion on the thing, and that's not wrong. Like there's plenty of movies that I I've watched and gone, that was really well made. Didn't like it very much.
Well, it's not, you say it's not wrong, but I also don't really want to hear the opinion of somebody who's angry that he can't fap to Charlize Theron in this movie. Tell me that it's the worst film of 2003, a year which also saw the release of House of the Dead. Come on.
Yeah, there's not a single reality in the whole of the multiverse where this movie is worse than House of the Dead, directed by Uwe Boll.
Nobody's hitting up Uwe Boll to direct a DC movie. I'm calling it now. Even James Gunn's not that crazy.
If you want to bang one out, go and watch that Uwe Boll movie where a man dressed in metal shoots people. That's the movie for you.
Rampage.
That's it, yeah. No,
I know that.
That's got the big gorilla in it, hasn't it? Yeah, you're right. Sometimes you can have the wrong opinion, and you gave me a very good example of that there. I hadn't considered that, but yeah, maybe some people did watch it and go, "Oh, she's not very pretty in this. I don't want to watch this movie." Incorrect.
Yeah. Also, there will be people out there who definitely fapped to her in this movie.
Yeah, good for you.
It's not impossible. Just got to try really hard.
Yeah.
Also, my final point, my absolute final point before we stop, legalize prostitution so we can protect sex workers, please.
100% agree. Hard agree. Yeah. Why not?
It's going to happen anyway. Legalize it so we can keep them safe.
This is just a theory, right? But I reckon that sex work, I don't know if anyone will agree with this, but I think it might be the oldest profession.
I don't know. I've never heard that. I've never heard anybody say that before.
This is a crazy idea, okay? But go with me. I think that women should be able to do what they want with their bodies, or anyone for that matter should be able to do what they want with their bodies.
Calm down.
It's controversial to say. A lot of people disagree and go, no, I think actually old white men that work for the government should be in control of your body. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but it is wrong. I am saying that, and you're a piece of shit if you think that.
So in conclusion, Aileen Wuornos, feminist hero.
You opened with that, and it's obviously a joke.
And I'm closing with it.
Yeah, it's obviously a joke. But
obviously, yeah.
But you're not wrong to have that opinion. That's a joke. Definitely a joke. Very good. Good choice. I enjoyed watching this one. I enjoyed having a chat about it.
Oh, good.
Am I going to enjoy watching and chatting about the movie that we've already watched and chatted about next week? For next week's episode, Sarah?
I don't know if you are. Well, you might enjoy chatting about it.
Yeah.
But there is the immediate barrier of it featuring Jared Leto.
True. So what is it then?
So tune in next week for House of Gucci, I guess.
Yeah.
Not by Catherine Bigelow.
Yeah. Or Patty Jenkins. Like there's the only commonality between Monster and House of Gucci is that there's a crime involved.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only thing they have in common.
That's it.